Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning.
We can get this started with Martine.
Hey, Trevor, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good.
Good. So we had heard, all off season that there was no shortage of interest from teams in you. What was the deciding factor or factors that went into the decision to sign with Oakland?
It was just a long process, and it was really good to see a lot of the interest that we had. But I think how normally these things work out, and I think it worked out this time where it seemed that Oakland had the most interest and really valued me being a part of this team the most, and that's something that as a player is always something I really value and wanting to be a part of an organization and just being somewhere where I'm welcomed and where they are excited to have me, and then on the other side, just a great franchise, great historic a great history here with the team, and a winning team, a team that puts out a really competitive brand of baseball and an exciting brand of baseball, and looking at that over the years from across the field in the other dugout is something that's very attractive and appealing. And when I got to that point of evaluating those things, it's something that ultimately I really wanted to be a part of and experience for myself. So I'm excited to be here.
And you're part of a few moves here in the past couple of weeks for the bullpen. What are your thoughts just coming in, seeing all the different guys that they've signed and just the bullpen as a whole? And just, you mentioned from playing against them for the past few years, just your thoughts on the team, what they've been able to do the last few years.
Yeah. There's a ton of, I think, you see a lot of the young talent, and especially for me looking on the pitching side, a lot of really young, talented arms, and then with the signings that they've been able to make, bringing in some veteran guys like myself and Romo and Petit, I think that adds just a lot of depth. And for this upcoming season where we're going to have a longer schedule than we did last year, I think that's going to really factor in across the league, is just having that depth and being able to have guys that have the experience and to be able to get through it. But it's a great the lineup, powerful lineup, very dynamic, speed and power and the things that they can do on the field. And looking at the starting rotation, a lot of guys that are just starting to break out, as well as some of the veteran mix. So I mean, it kind of checks all the boxes on paper, and so I think the team is excited about that, and I think that's ultimately why we were able to make the front office was comfortable making a lot of these moves to bring in some pieces to really hopefully take us to the next level, and that's really what I'm here for.
Manolo.
Good morning, Trevor. Welcome to our humble side of the world here. You were once one of the best, if not the best, closers in baseball. Of course, you went through the rough times with the injury and stuff like that. You picked the season to come back precisely when only 60 games in the season. What are some of the things you think that, talk about the process of coming back, and one of the things you had to do last year in such a short season to be the Trevor Rosenthal as before?
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, there's, speaking to the injury, the Tommy John, and then the comeback, I think there's just so many factors that factored in to that time. It's hard to really pinpoint something, but I don't think it's necessarily something that was uncommon as far as, getting back the time it took to get back my command and my control. But fortunately, through all that process, I had the health, I had the arm strength, the talent to throw the baseball like I do was still there. So that was encouraging for me. It's something that I could, kind of hang my hat on and know that if I could just continue to put in the work, the things would eventually come around. And that's exactly just what I did. I just kept showing up, just kept having faith that, I'd be able to figure things out. And I'm, it kind of, it was cool to see how last year went. And I was really excited coming into spring training, and it seemed like when I was in camp down here in Arizona with Kansas City, things were really starting to click, and I was excited for the season. And so for me, it was unfortunate that the season got cut short, because I feel like I had, a lot more to offer, and ended up just being a little bit smaller sample size. But that's why I'm here today, and this year, just excited to keep building on that process of being a healthy and valuable contributor to a winning team.
I'm sure some of those guys in the pen, for example, like Petit and Romo, are guys that you have, faced being on the other side in the past. You have had a chance to talk to some of those guys. And what is your impression of, you talked a little bit about this before, about the number of veterans they have in that pen?
Yeah, those guys have, done great things in the game and had great careers, and being able to see them play on other teams and compete against them. And, it's a cool thing in this game whenever you get to eventually be a teammate with someone that you've always watched work from the other side. And so just, I think yesterday was really just my first day. So I'm still, in the process of, being the new kid at school and making some friends. But definitely looking forward to seeing how these guys work. And, I think the things that they've accomplished in this game could speak for themselves. So the credibility is there. Now it's just, try and, take what I can from them, and then, really just hope that I can push them in whatever they need to ultimately, be the best, the best arms out there that we can be this year. And for me as well, just to learn from them and feed off of their confidence and energy.
Matt?
Hey, Trevor, welcome to the A's. We're happy to have you. Who are you? I know you're still new and you're figuring out who to be your friend and stuff like that, but who are you most excited to work alongside, or somebody that you're really glad that you don't have to throw to?
Yeah, I mean, this whole team is exciting. Like I said, I think just from the outside looking in, like I said, just the brand of baseball that the Oakland A's have always brought to the league historically is just an exciting. It's played with a lot of passion, and really, I think what this clubhouse does is just create a really strong brotherhood bond. And I think that's what I'm excited to be, experience and put in the work over here, here for the next 6 weeks, and create that bond and, become brothers with these guys. And we can, go into this season, just having each other's backs. But, I don't know. I'm looking forward just to working with everybody. I think, like I was talking about earlier, just, the veteran pieces, the guys that you've always seen. It's really cool to see, what you can learn from them. And then on the same end, compete with the younger guys. You want to keep, pushing them. You want them to push you. And it just creates this really cool atmosphere of competition where at the end of the day, the whole team is going to benefit from that. So that, that's what I enjoy the most about the game. And I think, the guys, you could probably guess the guys that I wouldn't want to face with, Chapman and Piscotti and, the guys at the top of the lineup. I mean, this team's so deep, and it's got so much power too. So, I'm excited to pitch in the Coliseum. I think that's going to, be something that's beneficial to my pitching style. Hopefully with, the bigger foul range and a little bit deeper park. So, all those things, are exciting.
Matt?
Hi, Trevor. Were the A's in touch with you throughout the free agent process, or were they a team that kind of came on a little bit later?
It was a little bit of both. We had, it's hard to remember. I think through the whole process, I saw how it was kind of dragging out, and it seemed like, it was going to take a little bit of time to, let the market develop and really, get, things fired up. So, at that point in time, I kind of shifted my focus to just controlling, my off-season workouts and how I was preparing and getting ready for the year, and, let my representation kind of take care of everything. But I know we had conversations with them, weeks prior to the signing, and the interest level was high, and, on our side and on their side, we thought it would be a really good fit. And then as things, shook out in the final hours, like I said, it just kind of became apparent that, they really valued me as a individual, as a player. And, I think that gave me a lot of confidence that I could have success here and, help this team.
And then was there anything particularly appealing to you about doing a one-year deal? I mean, some guys say they look at that as sort of betting on themselves. Was that a factor for you at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what it came down to is, going somewhere where I could have a chance to succeed, and then, hopefully, get back into the market and I guess sign another contract. I don't know. It's hard to really think that far out, but I think either way, I'm really fortunate and blessed, to have this opportunity that I have and have the contract that I have, and so for me, it's not really looking too far beyond that at this moment, but yeah, it would be great, to have another great season and continue to perform at what people expect and at those high levels.
Vince?
Good morning, Trevor. You became like the last piece of the puzzle for the A's as spring training was getting underway, and those were the fans of the ball club saw they lost their very popular shortstop, and a veteran has come in with Elvis Andrus. Not the same guy, but certainly a capable player at the position. You're following somebody that gained a lot of popularity and had a lot of success in Liam Hendricks, and you've had your share of success as well. How do you feel about being in that position with this club that has the opportunity to go far in the playoffs, and how integral you can potentially be a part of that?
Yeah, I think over the course of this season, I think the look of this team is obviously going to change from the way it looks right now. It's just how that's how it goes. But to look at how this team was built before I even was a part of the equation, I think this team was built and to win at that point, and they've had pretty much at that point replaced anything that they had lost, or even maybe upgraded in some areas. But that I think that's very exciting and appealing that this team already had the talent, already had the depth, and then to just add a couple more pieces on top of that, like myself, is really exciting. I think talking with the front office when we were making this decision, that's something that's kind of the way they viewed it too, and so they were excited about making this happen, and the just the overall outlook on what this move was going to make for the team.
Shayna?
Hey, Trevor, how are you?
Good. How are you?
You said earlier that Oakland expressed the most interest in you. I'm wondering if you could sort of define what that interest looked like. What did they say to you that ultimately wooed you?
Yeah. I mean, I think, a big part of it is, just kind of what I've been talking about, talking through that with them about how the roster looked and the pieces that they had. And, I came, I became part of the equation after they had already added, Romo and Petit. And so those are two guys who, fill a similar void that I do. And, the fact that they still wanted to do something on top of that showed me, the commitment that the organization had to winning this year and to putting out the best, possible product that we could. And for me, looking at that, I saw, that it was going to be an opportunity to have a ton of success with so many options in the back end. But I think too, the other part is, on the contract side, where they really just gave us what we were asking for. And so when you're, I guess, going through the kind of the business negotiations, and you have an idea of the options that you want to pursue, and then when someone comes to you and is willing to make that happen, and certainly in these times where there's we haven't had fans and the revenues have been down, and for them to make that commitment to me is something that showed me that they really wanted to make this happen, and that helped to make that decision for me, no doubt.
Matt?
Having not really had a chance to throw very many innings now for several seasons in a row, and not having built built up that stamina. How did you go about that this offseason, getting ready for a full season, like 162 games?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it's really just kind of the same process that I've gone through. Because last off season we didn't know the season was going to be short, so at that point I had gone through the paces to prepare for 162, and then even when the season ended up getting, we ended up going home and having the break. I think it's kind of I've heard other guys talk about it, but over that break I never stopped throwing. I never stopped. I never really dialed back the intensity or the volume. I kind of kept just going at the pace that I had been going. Obviously, you can't simulate a lot of the game speed, but fortunately, where I was in the country, we were able to do some sim games and do things on a consistent basis where I probably threw close to the same amount of innings that I would have in a normal season. And certainly it's not the same intensity, and you can't factor in travel and different types of recovery techniques, but I'm confident that going through that process and the way I was able to keep my volume up and keep throwing, I think that'll have an impact this season, and not being as much of a shock to the system, I guess I should say. But I think it's certainly I think for me, I saw those results last year as well, where I was able, when things basically turned on overnight, he was able to show up and have a very short period of time where I was already ramped up, so there wasn't much of an adjustment process, and I think that's really what helped me to have a lot of success I had last year as well.
Martine?
I know you played with Stephen Piscotti in St. Louis for a while, and he's a pretty popular guy over there. I'm just wondering what it's like to be reuniting with him, and do you know any other guys on this team?
Yeah, Stephen Piscotti, we didn't really come up through the system, but we were real products of the development system in St. Louis, and we had a good relationship and a close bond. I always admired his work ethic and the way he approached the game, and his commitment to being a great player, and that's something that I'm looking forward to being around again and continuing to grow that relationship. I also Pete Cosma's over here on a big league invite, and so we played a little bit together in St. Louis, and then I guess my signing mate Mitch Moreland, we both kind of were announced around the same time. We were in San Diego a little bit last year, so looking forward to being around him again. He's a great great leader in the clubhouse, great player, and I think he's going to be a great addition to this team as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Trevor.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Trevor.
Guys.